Hello and welcome to Trace Cloud. In this video, I will show you how you can import requirements or test cases from Excel, update them, and then do something similar from Word documents. Okay. As usual, I will go to my Trace Cloud project that I have for my demo purposes, and it is a large size project. Now, I have my requirement types out here in a folder structure. What I'll do, I'll create one more so that I can actually import things and show you how that works. Okay, demo of import. I got my folder here, and that should be, when I click on this and expand this, I should see my demo of import. So over here, let me see, there it is. It'll sort itself next time I open it, but for the time being, I have a subfolder here. Importing from Excel is as simple as doing a right click and saying import from Excel. And at this point, I have two options. I can either create new requirements or update existing, but let me start with create new. The idea here is if you follow these 5 rules, you should be in good place. Make sure your Excel file is in a 97/2003 format, and make sure your data is in the first tab. I do have a sample file that is already set up out here, and that looks like this. It's a standard Excel file. The only thing is it is saved as an Excel 97/2003 format. So if you see it is saved as an Excel 97/2003 format, so the file is a .xls. My first tab has the data, and my first row has the column names. I go here and choose a file. It is on my desktop, and the file was called, I believe, Excel demo. Where is Excel demo? Excel import. Sorry, yeah. I have a file here. I am choosing to create new requirements. I'm starting with 0, and I do upload file. The next page is smart enough to go through the uploaded Excel file, parse each column of data, looking for the column names, and say, well, to create new object, you have to give me name, but I found a column whose name is name, so I will use that. But you also have to give me a description, which is mandatory, and I didn't find a description column in the Excel import. So what I can do is I'll say, you know what, just use the name column to match description, right? And then it said, you know what, there are these attributes that have been defined for business requirements, but I was able to find kind of matching column names. Is this what you want to do? So for customer, I found a column called customer in the Excel file. For an attribute called deliverability, I found an equivalent out here. So the system is smart enough to figure out the structure of the Excel file, what columns of data you're importing in, and what the requirement type needs, and does the kind of matching for you. Do a sanity check, make sure it's good. Oh, by the way, a lot of other stuff that you see out here are more complex stuff. You can do a lot of magic when you're bringing stuff from Excel, but I'm just doing the bare bones version for this demo. And I hit create new requirements button, and roughly a few minutes later, I have all my requirements that kind of were brought in. So if I were to go back to my business requirements here, I believe it's called demo of import. That is here. Now I've got 25 objects, and everything is looking good. If I need to update this data set ever, it is very simple. I just need to kind of look at this report, look at the data set that is here, export this into Excel. Let me do this. So I have this data set that is coming from Trace Cloud into Excel right now. And I will save this file. Give me a second. I do file, save as. I'll just say, give me a second. I'll say updating existing objects. I will save this on my desktop. Sorry, I want to give it updating. Remember to save it as an Excel 97/2003 format, and I save it. The only other thing I need to do is I got to make sure my list, this data set is the first tab. So I can delete this, which I don't need. Okay. I have my first sheet is the data. And for the columns I don't need, I can remove them. It doesn't really matter. Now let's say I want to update all these where I change the customer from Cisco to Intel. Okay. And I did this for these 10 rows. And I changed the type from a bug to an enhancement. And I did this for these 20 objects. I saved this file. Now just note that my first column has a column name called tag, and it identifies which object I'm trying to update. So when I go back to demo import, you'll see every object has an object ID, business requirement 4203, customer is Cisco. When I upload this 4203, my customer should become Intel. So I go here, right click, import from Excel, and in this case, I say, well, I want to update my existing requirements. And I choose the file, which I believe I called it updating existing requirements, updating existing, there it is. Okay. And I upload the file. This gives me, again, it parses the file and says, hey, I have to have something called the requirement tag, which I see a column and I know exactly which objects I'm going to update, which is this column, which is good. Then it gives me a choice of figuring out what I want to update. And it again parsed everything else in Excel file for me. So I don't need to kind of say which column needs to map to what. And I go ahead and say update existing, right? It will go through and find only the ones that have gotten changed. It doesn't change the entire file. It changes only the ones where it thinks it has found new data and changes that. So at this point, my data has been changed. So if I go to my business requirements and my demo of import, you will see that my customer has gotten changed to Intel, which is cool. That's exactly what I wanted. And I have changed my, I believe one of the variable I wanted to change, which was type. I changed it to enhancement, right? So it's pretty smooth. There are a lot of smarts that are built into it, and that makes it relatively straightforward and easy. Now, one of the concept I want to cover is how to import from Word documents. So here's a classic use case. Let's say you have a Word document, and there are lots of requirements and collateral that is in the document, and you want to bring it in. You want to parse the document to create requirements out of it. There are multiple ways to do that. The only caveat is when you save the document, again, save it as a 97 2003 Word document, which is a .doc format. So if you want to see this one, this looks like a 97 2003 .doc. And then at this point, you can go here and say, well, I want to import from Word, and you get to choose where the file is. Let's say I call this, I believe, the Word demo doc. Word demo. That is it. And I'll call this demo of Word. And I've chosen the file, I upload the file. At this point, my document actually exists in there. Now I can do multiple things out here. I can always download the template, which gives me the file that I just uploaded. I can change the file that is in the system. So I can upload a newer file there. I can delete it, but more importantly, I can create objects from the text inside the Word document. For example, there are multiple ways to do that. Let me show you the simplest way. Um, I've already gone through this Word document and said, I used a concept called word styles. So basically, when you select a piece of paragraph, and you can set it to any of these word styles. I've already done it to a few of these objects. And when it say I want to locate my requirements by using styles, the system goes through it and says, hey, I found this style for you called intense emphasis. Is that what you're looking for? And if I choose that, it'll say, yep, I found about 4 sections of the Word document that you have set it to that style. And if I go to the document, you can see that I have this one that I set to that style, or have they been so whatever, right? And but really, this is not a joke, right? You can see all of that is showing up out here. I can say create requirements. It will go ahead, suck the text out of the Word document and create requirements for me. There are other ways to do the same thing. You could go here and say, well, I really want to use keywords like shall, will, or whatever, and I can, so there's a lot of magic out here. I would highly encourage you to kind of actually go through this documentation links that are here, or if you need a demo on how to go deeper into this, I can walk you through that. Please reach out to support@tracecloud.com, and we should be able to show that for you. And let me see, I'm going to end the recording here.